A number of the government's own senators have issued some criticisms, part of a Senate committee look into the government's proposed changes. Let's bring in Executive Director at the Refugee Legal Centre, David Manne. David, thanks for your time as always. This Senate committee looked at the proposed bill. It didn't get through the Senate anyway, but they said it was rushed and too wide-reaching the powers for the minister. Can you explain to our viewers what the fundamental concern is from that proposed migration amendment that the government had?
Yeah, look, the fundamental concern is the government is resorting again to extreme and completely unwarranted measures to circumvent the ruling of the High Court in relation to indefinite detention, but also seeking to subvert our obligation under law not to deport people to danger. I mean, these reforms through the deportation bill really threaten rights and lives in very serious ways and fundamental liberties, and should be at bare minimum subject to proper scrutiny. And with the government explaining why the rush, why the emergency, and also why are these deemed to be necessary when they are so serious and so potentially dangerous to rights and lives.
The government says that it's trying to deal with a cohort that continues to simply not cooperate with authorities. Is that a problem right now?
What the government should be doing is ensuring that we abide by our constitution and the ruling of the High Court in relation to its indefinite detention judgment, which essentially means that if someone can't be returned to their home country, they shouldn't be locked up indefinitely and potentially forever. And that requires a small amount of people to be released into the community on appropriate conditions, with all of the ordinary protections under Australian law for both them, but also for Australians in the community. That's what should be occurring here, rather than resorting to such draconian and dangerous measures, which are really extreme and unnecessary. One of the keys here,
if the government,
yeah.
I was just going to say, if the government does stop people being deported back to countries like Iran and Iraq, the coalition says this will prompt the use of more people smugglers. Is that a possibility?
Well, I just don't think there's any evidence of that. I think that that kind of rhetoric without evidence is very unhelpful in this situation. I mean, the bottom line here is that these proposals in this bill say this, that even where our own government has found people would face danger in their home country, if those people don't then agree to go back there, they could be jailed for up to 5 years with a mandatory minimum sentence of 1 year in prison and up to $94,000 in fines. I mean, it's draconian and dangerous and extreme overreach to be expecting people to agree to their own deportation to danger under threat of being jailed for a significant period. That's what's really in question here in part.
Some of the government's own senators, as I mentioned at the start, have expressed concern about the level of power here for the minister. You'd be hoping that this doesn't ever get through the upper house, given the coalition's stance on this, for a different reason, but also have their own criticisms of the government's approach.
Yes, well, that's right. Well, that really highlights, again, how extreme these measures are and the lack of proper scrutiny in relation to them. I mean, there really are profound concerns right across Parliament about these measures, not only about why all of a sudden they're deemed to be so urgent and necessary, but also about the very nature of them. And one of the issues that has been highlighted by senators, including government senators, is this extraordinary proposal of a travel ban for people from, at this stage, unnamed countries. So we haven't actually got the list yet, but essentially a travel ban and blacklist, so that people from countries who would normally be able to come here would now be barred purely because they're of the same nationality as people already here who can't be deported. I mean, again, it's draconian, but it's also discriminatory and has sent shockwaves across the community in Australia, including diaspora communities. Really concerned about whether this could target family members or others that they know who would normally be able to come here for a whole range of reasons, for a visit, for business, for example, as students.
David Manne, Executive Director at Refugee Legal, appreciate it. Talk to you soon.
Thanks a lot.